The dating world is out of control.
Imagine going on a trip with your sister. Things are going great. You're having a blast. You meet a guy. You guys go out to dinner a couple times. Like, things are going good. But then you find out that he was only feeding you so that you could feed him, literally. Story time. Let us begin. This is another story time that kept me awake at night, so you guys already know the drill. If I'm awake, you're awake. I also want to add that I'm resharing these stories just to spread awareness and ensure that women are just taking an extra step and being safe. I'm not saying that women should not solo travel and have fun on their own. It's just we have to be extra careful because this world is cruel. Okay, let's name the sisters Bella and Stacy. So Bella and Stacy are from America and they travel overseas to go on a vacation. I'm not really sure the place that they went, but they just wanted to enjoy life, okay? They were young, beautiful girls. So they're only there for a couple of days. So obviously they're going outside having fun. And Bella meets a guy named Nick on one of the days where she was at the bar. And they hit it off, like they were having a blast. They were talking, vibing. Bella and Nick have gone on a couple of dates. Every single date has been them eating out. And Bella's noticing that he just wants her to eat. Like, he's really making sure that she's full. Me personally, I would love that because, oh, like, you want to make sure I'm well fed. No, it's a red flag now. On all these dates, he's been insinuating for her to come over to his house. And obviously, she didn't want to go over on the first couple of dates because she's like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to be easy. On the last day, he was pushing extra hard. He's like, oh, you should come over. Like, oh my God, it's your last day. Like, you need to come over. And she got creeped out. So he's pushing too hard for her liking. So she calls her sister Stacy and kind of fakes an emergency and goes the home. That call that she made to her sister to go home saved her life. That was their last day on vacation. So they left, went back to America, and once she got to America, she felt this rash on her back. So she went to the dermatologist. It's so icky. She's obviously not thinking much of it. She just, gets her testing and lets the dermatologist know to let her know once there's any results and goes about her business, goes about her day. I forgot to mention that Bella is a university student, so she was on campus on her way to school, and her dermatologist calls her and says, listen, Bella, you need to come to my clinic right now. The police are here, and I cannot tell you this over the phone. So she goes, and when she gets there, she does not see the police. She sees the FBI. So she's obviously standing there like, what is going on? And her dermatologist lets her know that the rash on her back was by a cream that was used for cannibalism. Yeah, people who eat other people. So once Bella gave these people the details that they needed, they raided his apartment and found limbs and bones of missing women. Whether it was tourists, women that were already from there, just missing women from months and years ago. He was going on dates with them, feeding them, which is why he was feeding Bella like that, because he wanted her to be nice and juicy for when he was about to eat her. So just please be safe when you go out there. Don't just trust anybody and go over to their homes, because he could really just oil you up, give you a nice oil massage so that your skin can disintegrate so he can eat you. That is all. I love you guys. Be safe.
I'm gonna throw up.
Bye.
I'm gonna throw up. I already did not trust the world when traveling solo or with a friend after the movie Taken. Anyone else? You see that movie and you're telling me you're still just like, oh, let's go meet some new boys. No. That movie shook me to my core. That's literally, it's a life lesson. It awakened me. How old was I when I saw that movie? Probably not old enough to see it, to be honest.
Let me tell you about the scariest dating experience I've ever had. So when I was in my 20s, I was single forever, so I decided to get on this dating app. I think it was like blackpeoplemeet.com. Anybody remember that? So I'm on this app and I'm talking to this guy. I lived in Richmond, Virginia, and he lived in like Indiana. So it wasn't too far away, but it was like we had like maybe a 2-hour distance between us. And so we decided that we're gonna meet up and we're gonna meet halfway. Now, unfortunately, I did not check the weather before I left. And as I'm driving halfway, it's a snowstorm. And by this time it was like, I was too far away to like try to drive back home. And then I was like, I'm not going to his place. And so he said, well, let's just meet up and I'll come to you. And so I'm like, okay. And so we're meeting up, we have dinner, and then it's snowing like crazy. And I'm realizing, how am I going to get home? And so he's like, well, let's just get a hotel for the night or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I'm not sleeping with you.
No.
But we can get a hotel because like, we just got to get 2 beds. So we get a hotel, we get 2 beds, all the things. And I'm in my bed, we're watching TV and whatever. Go to sleep, wake up, and here he is on me on my bed. And so like, listen, I'm a strategic thinker today, but I was strategic thinking back then too. And I had this thought in my head, oh, say something that makes him like not want to touch you. This is kind of crazy. And I said, you might want to stop because I have something to tell you. And so he stops and he's like, what? And I was like, well, I'm not going to tell you until we leave because I don't want you to be upset, but you might want to stop. And so I can tell he's like nervous about like what's going on. Does she have AIDS? What's going on? He's like freaking out. And me, I'm like, I just need to get out of this hotel room. Now, I did have something to tell him that he did not know, which, yeah. So then when we get to the gas station, he said, so what is it? What do you have to tell me? And I said, well, I'm a virgin. And he was like, what? I said, I'm a virgin, so that's why I couldn't mess with you last night. And he was like, wait a minute, I thought you had AIDS. And then I said to him, I was like, well, I knew I needed to tell you that so you would get off of me because otherwise you would have done, I don't know, whatever. And I never spoke to him ever again.
I feel like this is far too casual. Girl's laughing and telling this story. Smart move, I understand. That is a smart tactic. Not sure if it would work for everyone. Psychopaths don't care. But we're so casual about this man, quite literally, as you're sleeping, forcing himself upon you. She's laughing it off. I don't feel right laughing that off.
And he said the most backhanded compliment to me. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna spill the tea about that boy that I went on an arcade date with. If you've seen that video of me getting ready for that date, you know how excited I was for that date because I have never met him. He was my little crush on social media. He comes and picks me up. We get to the place. He opens my door and all that, being a gentleman. So obviously we're at an arcade, so we're gonna play some games. The first game we played was a shooting game for basketball. So it was me against him shooting basketballs for 1 minute straight. And you guys, not gonna lie, I'm pretty good at shooting. Like, shout out to my ex for teaching me how to shoot a basketball, but I beat him in the first round and he was so baffled. He's like, okay, let's play again. Maybe it's just rigged or something. Maybe it's rigged. So I'm like, okay, yeah.
He's a sore loser.
First time. Nope. I win the second time. And he's like, no way. Like, it's rigged. It's rigged. So guess what? He wants to play a third round. We fucking did. We played 4 rounds and I won against this man's every single time. It was such a turn off to me, the way that he was reacting. Like, a man's reaction shows you everything you need to know about him. Like, obviously, he's never been beat by a girl before because he's so butthurt over it. I was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. So I tell him, let's play a different game. Like, let's go around the arcade, you know? And so we do. But towards the end of our date, he wants to play that basketball shooting game again.
Oh my God,
man.
man.
We have to play that basketball game again. It's definitely rigged. Like, dude, can't you just admit that I am better at something than you? You could just say, like, you're really good at that. You know, like, can you teach me? So he wants to play again. So I'm like, okay, let's do it again. We switch sides because he apparently thinks that it's rigged and it favors me. So I'm like, okay, let's test your theory. We play the first round. Guess what? I f***ing win again. He's just so flabbergasted. So he's like, no, we have to play another game. So I'm like, okay. I was not going to let this man win. You're getting your ass handed to you by a girl tonight, and that girl is my yang. So in conclusion, I beat him at a basketball shooting game at the arcade 6 times. I forget his exact words, but he said something along the lines of, you look like such a princess. Like, I just would not believe that you're good at basketball. So just because I look pretty, you think I'm not going to be good at sports or anything like that? Get out of my face. So at that point, I was just irritated and over it. I have seen enough and I don't like it. One thing about me is I'm not going to date a man with a fragile ego. Like,
no.
Look at me. I look good. I feel good. I'm confident. If you can't be on that same level with me, you will always think you're in competition with me. And that's the real tea, y'all. So, nope. Get somebody else to do it because that's not going to be me. And thank you so much for getting ready with me. And I'll see you guys in my next video.
That one was hard to listen to because it was beyond annoying. I need to know how old he is because that is so dumb. I think if I was a guy, I think that'd be so like attractive if a girl just rolled up on our date and started shooting and like beating me in basketball. Are you kidding me? What a flex.
To the girl that gave a guy a fake number and it just so happened to be my number, sis, I'm glad you got away. I'm glad you were able to live in peace. But now, where does that leave me? So I'm on holiday for my birthday in Abu Dhabi, living my best life. And I get an iMessage from a number that's not saved. Now, I instantly panic because my issue is I don't message people on iMessage. I go on WhatsApp. So I just think, who did I block on WhatsApp for them to now contact me on iMessage? The message was, hello, are you there? Does that not sound like the beginning of a horror movie? So I respond, hi, who is this? And he goes and says, oh, it's Kurt. Relaxing now, I don't know a Kurt. So I tell him, I'm sorry, you got the wrong number. Then he says, well, aren't you Liz? I said, no, I'm D. I think Liz gave you the wrong number.
Oh.
Now, this is where I messed up because I had no business in telling this man my name, but I thought I'm being nice because obviously she curbed you. She did it. She curbed you. And for good reason, because he goes on, obviously, to save my number and goes on WhatsApp to see what I look like. Now, the reason why I know he did this is because 10 minutes after I tell him I'm not Liz, he asks me, how old are you? Instant block. And I also go on WhatsApp and change my settings to make sure if you don't have my number saved, or if I don't have your number saved, sorry, you can't see my profile picture. After that, I'm thinking it's done. Continue on my holiday. No, I get a notification from Line. Now, for those of you who don't know what Line is, it is a Japanese talking app. It's basically like WhatsApp, just based in Japan. Now, the reason I have it is because I live there. So I'm not expecting anyone with a +44 number to also have the app. But lo and behold, Mr. Kurt has the app. And you know what he does? After me blocking him on iMessage, he goes and finds me online and adds me again for God knows what reason. Actually, we know the reason. But now I'm a bit nervous because this guy has my number. He knows what I looks like. And obviously he can't take no for an answer because why are you adding people who's blocked you on one form of social media on another form? Like, do you see what I'm saying? So, sis, I'm glad you got away.
And now we know the reason why she gave him a fake number. She was probably picking up on the same vibes and was like, absolutely not. I've never thought of that. You be just giving people fake numbers and that could be someone else's real phone number. And then they have to deal with the psychopath.
I
Dating
just walked
in
out on my
Dubai
date,
horror
and I'm
story
gonna tell
part
you guys
1.
the tea before leaving. Okay, this guy asked me to send him my location before leaving. Live location I did. I thought he was gonna track it, so like when I arrive, he's gonna be by the door waiting for me, you know, to receive me and all of that, since he didn't have to pick me up or send a taxi. I arrive and I had to text him like, where are you? How
Yo, that's a wild decision to share your location with a complete stranger.
do I find you? Then he sends me a picture 5 minutes later of where he's seated so I could find him. I see this guy wearing shorts, just a normal collared shirt and slippers. One thing I do not tolerate on first dates is convenience. Like the zero effort. And the mistake I made is I didn't ask this guy, how long have you been in Dubai for? I know it's a question I don't like people asking me, but at this point I had to ask. And he's like, oh, I've been here for over 15 years. And in my head, I'm like, this is not gonna work. It is not gonna work. Straight into the conversation, he's telling me about his 3 kids. He's showing me pictures. Now, time to eat. He's like, oh, we're not gonna eat today. We're just doing drinks because we're getting to know each other, you know? So what beer do you want? And I'm like, no, I don't drink beer. I'm even actually on an alcohol break, so I'll go for like a mojito. And he goes, okay, so he orders his beer and I order my mocktail and we're having conversations. He was trying to touch me and I'm like, I don't allow this on the first date, so please keep your hands to yourself. Thank you very much. The fact that I had to even tell him, it was already off. The conversation was so dead. We were done with the first drinks. We're gonna order the second drink. The waitress comes, she recommends something for me. I go for like a Red Bull and some mixture, and he goes for his second glass of beer. And the waitress was like, would you guys like to have like a starter or bites with whatever drink you're having?
Yeah, I'm on
And
food.
he takes the menu from her, he closed it, and he tossed it to the other part of the table. He's like, no, we're just doing drinks. Please take it away from here. That was so... And the fact that he did not even ask me.
Creepy.
Like, usually you should turn around and ask your guest, do you want something? He didn't ask me. He just said, no, we're not drinking. We're not doing anything. He closes the menu and tosses it over. At that point in my head, I'm like, no, this date is... I'm never seeing this guy again. The next thing he does, his friend calls him, he picks up the phone, and he was giving the guy the direction to come with us. And I was like, are you expecting someone? And he's like, oh yeah, his friend.
We have a part 2, but I am still not over the fact that he was just sitting in the restaurant and wanted you to share your location.
Dating in Dubai Horror Story Part 2.
The next thing he does, his friend calls him, he picks up the phone, and he was giving the guy the direction to come with us. And I was like, are you expecting someone? And he's like, oh yeah, his friend has probably just bought a home and he'd like to join us. And I'm like, you didn't tell me?
What? I'm not trying to hang out with you and your friend, especially if I'm not eating food. Oh hell no, I'd be gone.
You didn't ask me? You just assumed that's okay? I told him I wanted to go pee, but that was actually where I wanted to disappear from. But like the toilet was straight right in front of us. There's no way I'll just get up and walk away. I was just looking for the perfect excuse. I go use the washroom. 5 minutes.
Just
his
leave.
friend was already there. I was like, where was this guy when he even called? Okay, I come back, shake the friend. Hi, nice to meet you.
His friend was probably in the parking lot.
I've heard so much about you. And straight up, man, I told him, no, you've not. I'm just meeting him for the first time, and he surely haven't said anything about me to you. And the guy, the date, was like, oh bro, you fucked up. I didn't tell you anything about her. I'm just meeting her today for the first time. I was disgusted. I just grabbed my bag and I'm like, yo, I gotta go train now.
Ew.
I skipped the gym to come spend time with you, but I gotta go now. And they wanted to start creating conversations. I was like, I'm gonna go. I came out from the bathroom. I haven't even sat down. And I was like, you know what? I think I'll just go from here. And they were like, oh, the night is still young.
Yeah.
We're just getting started. And I'm like, no, I gotta go. I gotta go to the gym, actually.
Ew.
And he stretches his hand to shake me. I was like, you know what? There's no need, actually. Then I was walking away. He's like, oh, come here. Give me a hug. He hugs me with one hand and then bends over to kiss me. I'm like, what is wrong with you? At this point, I couldn't hide my disgust. I was like, what is wrong with you? Oh, gosh, Dubai. It's crazy. Where do they make this, man? People,
Not me, in my head, thinking that these two people were planning on kidnapping you. And that's why he wanted your location and invited a friend, so then it's 2 against 1 and they could have like lured you. And that's where my mind goes. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing, because I am always thinking that everyone's trying to kill me. So you won't be able to fool me. Grab your beverage of choice. I think this is a good time that I hydrate. I think I need to. It's lemon water. I'm back to some lemon in my water. I took a long break. Cheers. Drink it. Take a sip. You need it. Hey guys, just a little PSA update. I want to say thanks to anyone who ordered merch for the Black Friday sale, and I wanted to also say that I'm actually just going to continue the sale for the next few weeks, not just for Black Friday weekend. So the entire site, including the Christmas collection, is still 20% off, and if you order soon, it will arrive before Christmas for the Christmas stuff. So wanted to share, the sale is still going on. I'll probably just keep the sale up for the rest of December, to be honest, because why not?
You really can't just date anybody. You really gotta vet these guys. They could be psychos. So let me give you the backstory.
Anyone could be a psycho.
Been talking to this one guy on an app for some time now. And I wouldn't even say consistent. It's not even like a slow burn. It's just like he texts me once or twice a week. Conversations are really short. Never talked to him on the phone. Also have never FaceTimed him, and he has an iPhone. I'm okay with meeting somebody if I don't FaceTime them first, but that means that we have to have been talking like a lot. Like you would be texting me all day, because otherwise you could be a psycho serial killer. Our first date was going to be in a pool. I think when he mentioned it to me the first time, weeks ago, about him having a pool, my mind thought he had like a pool in his apartment, like a community pool or like a apartment pool. And I'm like, should I go? And of course, because you gotta get yourself some better friends. My friends, they started out real sketch. Do it for the plot, do it for the content.
Oh, I would be like, yo, he's gonna drown you in there. Not for a first date. I don't know. Maybe I'm just very not trusting in this world, but I don't know. Have you seen the stories?
My very first message when she said do it for the content was, what about my safety?
Mm-hmm.
So I sent him a text and I said, well, send me the address and I'll let you know when I'm on my way. When I put the address in, it dawned on me that somewhere in the past conversation, he must have said he has a pool at his house. And I don't know if it's just me, but there's a huge difference between a pool party at a creepy house for a first date versus a pool party at your apartment with at least 100 other tenants for a first date. The chances that you murder me or kill me at an apartment pool is way slimmer, but the chances that you murder me, kill me, or me in the pool in your backyard, alarms are going up. Okay, my one friend who's the most sane out of the two in the group chat was like, it's given scary, you're not going. And so I said, yo, I just looked at the address, it's at his house. And so I'm like, I'm not going either.
Would you guys go to someone's house for a pool day as a first date? Male, female, doesn't matter. Men, if a woman invited you over, she has a pool, would you go? And vice versa. What? Vice versa. I'm just curious where everyone stands. Some people might be like, oh, I don't think that everyone's trying to kill me. Let me know.
I just matched with my dead wife on Tinder.
Ooh, that's spooky.
I had numbly swiped left so many times in a row, I almost missed it. I wish I had. My wife, Alison, has been dead for 2 full years. Yet there she was, on Tinder, smiling at me, in a photo I'd never seen. All of the air went out the room. I skimmed through the rest of her profile. There was no writing, but 3 other pictures of my dead wife I'd never seen before, including one with the Statue of Liberty behind her, even though I knew she'd never been to New York City. At least to my knowledge. I swiped right and breathed for the first time in nearly 2 minutes. I struggled to sleep for the next 48 hours, never getting a match, ready to message Tinder and tell them someone was impersonating my beloved dead wife on their app and doing some kind of magical Photoshop to put in her pictures. The match came at 3:33 a.m, lighting up my phone. I was already awake. The match came with a message, just a simple, hi. The absolute worst in any situation, let alone this one. So true. I mashed the letters on my phone as hard and as fast as I could. Who is this? Why are you doing this? And where did you get these pictures of my wife? She died of cervical cancer 2 years ago, you monster.
Oh, that's so dark.
I had to wait for another 24 hours before I got an answer. It came in the middle of the night again. Derek, I miss you. I'm sorry for what happened. That was it. Sorry for what happened? She died of natural causes she in no way could have controlled. And was I supposed to believe that my dead wife's spirit decided to inhabit a Tinder profile and hit me up on it? I got another message as these thoughts ran through my head. Are you home?
No.
Huh? What the I got another answer before I could form my own. I'm outside. My blood ran cold.
Oh.
Something rattled in the darkness of my kitchen, and I jumped up and readied myself in bed.
Nah, I got goosebumps, y'all. Look at my leg here. I can see it poking through right now because of the goosebumps.
Then realised it was just the ice dropping in the ice maker in the freezer.
Sorry? Is that something that happens?
Yeah.
On its own? It's like in big fridges. Wow.
Another message. Holy sh**. Let me in, please.
How about no?
What? Someone had to be f***ing about with me, but who would be this impossibly cruel and diabolical? There may have been a couple of people who didn't like me at work, but no one would go anywhere near this far. Another message. Never mind, no more time for thought, just reading. Never mind. I got in. I heard the front door of my house close and I tightened up in my bed. I started to write back.
That'd be it for me. Yup, that would be it for me. See you later. I'm jumping out the nearest frickin' window, no matter how high. I will spider monkey.
You better hold on tight, spider monkey.
Squirrel myself onto the nearest branch. I'm out of there.
Another message rang in before I could shoot mine off.
Rang in? What? Excuse me?
What are you shooting off, Derek? You're on Tinder too soon, Derry. The pet name only the two of us use between each other. Derry. The logistics of who knew that name flashed through my head as I heard footsteps approach my unlocked bedroom
Stop it
door.
now. This is not real. Stop it.
Then the footsteps stopped right outside. They were accompanied by a fresh message in my inbox.
You ain't
Ding!
locking the door yet? Are
You were supposed to mourn me, not try to f 23-year-olds on Tinder. I realised right there that it was even following Alison's quirk to impeccably punctuate any kind of message, even if it didn't matter, putting the dashes into the 23-year-old. I spoke finally. Alison, I'm sorry. I love you. I miss you. I've been sick to my stomach for 2 years, but I had to move on. Throughout most mornings for almost a year, I was wrecked. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything, but I'm finally starting to put it together. I pleaded into the wood of my bedroom door, and my throat went dry. I couldn't speak anymore, too choked up, just like I'd been when I tried to give Alison's eulogy.
This is sad. Is this real? What's happening?
I'm f***ing sorry. Everything hurts. Every day. You're my only love. Forever. I couldn't hear or see anything, but I could sense someone out there on the other side of the door. Then I couldn't. Then I heard footsteps walk away.
Oh.
Then I heard my door close again. I checked the app. I had a message waiting for me. Okay. Goodbye. XO. I felt like my spine tried to climb out of my body. My entire being went numb. I couldn't feel anything other than odd, disconnected pain. It was her. I walked out to the front door and looked outside. There were no signs of life. I went back to my phone in the bedroom. Alison's profile had been deleted. I felt okay. Until a couple of nights ago, after I came back from a date with a 26-year-old I met off Tinder.
Jerry!
Came home tipsy after a few drinks and a make-out session in my car.
Jerry!
I was on a high. I'm sorry.
Are you 17?
Yeah, he's obviously reverted back to his,
off, Derek.
high school jock face. I checked the app to see photos of the girl whose tongue had just been in my mouth and noticed that I had a new like. He's
I hate Derek so much. I hope he died.
I would haunt the out of Derek.
I would mess around.
I'd come back.
So
yeah,
much.
you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I had a new like. I had my account on premium. Of course he f***ing does. I had my account on premium so I could see who it was. It was Alison again, but with the same profile. She was only 1 mile away. I swipe right. Let's see where it goes.
Oh my god. Okay, guys, do you guys believe in ghosts? I get so torn every time I've had an experience or a story. I'm just like, I don't know what to believe. Do we believe this story? Or are y'all like, Josh, this is some crack of shit. Are you crazy? Let me know. Stay classy out there, stay sassy, and stay safe. I'll see you tomorrow.